Hey there, Aaron Wills again, bringing you another reaction video. I started this on Monday, the 9th day of September in 2024 at 4:25 p.m. Along with welcoming you to my channel, allow me to thank you for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe before sharing this video and turning on the post notification bell. I've been addicted to some new videos lately. Like my first minute auditors. I couldn't stop watching them, even though they made me so mad. And now I've learned about sovereign citizens. I can't stop watching them, even though they annoy the shit out of me. There's a channel called Team Skeptic who shows sovereign citizens in court defending themselves and being proved idiots by the judge and the prosecution. Not prosecution. So let's go to youtube.com and see if I can find a sovereign citizen a sovereign citizen video. youtube.com. Enter. What do we have? Okay, here we go. How long was this? I might have seen this one already. I didn't watch it. This kid had a loving memory. Alright, can you use that for? What is this? What did I accidentally push? Oh, I don't want that. I'll get out of here and come back. Here we go. We'll go back to youtube.com. Alright. Here we go again. Foreign citizen. We'll click on that and see what it brings up. Sovereign, not foreign citizen. Sovereign citizen movement. Laws do not apply. Let's see what that is down there. That's what they're all about. Judge versus sovereign citizen. Alright, let's watch this. This guy on Team Skeptic is hilarious. I like to watch him.
Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. Today, we head to Kansas to catch a young sovereign citizen going head to head with Judge Webster, who might look like a sweet old lady, but has no time for living brain donors. So let's begin.
We'll now be on the record in 23 TR 2777, State of Kansas versus Anthony Edward Dubus. Jared Regier for the state. Is Mr. Dubus present? Anthony Dubus?
I am Anthony Edward Dubus. Dubus is the English pronunciation, Dubus is the original French, and I am appearing specially in propria persona, not pro se, as sui juris.
Okay, first of all, I can't see you, so you're
Where
not
is he?
here.
There he is. Ow.
Aren't satisfied?
Thank you, sir. Now,
Absolutely.
as far as I need to go, well, I need you back here in person.
This is my prediction. At some point he will question her jurisdiction and he will not consent. He will have no consent for this or that. I do not consent to this, I do not consent to that. And he'll question her jurisdiction over him, or over the court. Here we go.
Okay, well, it's propria persona, not in person. I'm not the legal entity that you're claiming me to be.
All right, sir, if I can't get you on camera, you're not
I'm
here.
doing so right now. I'm just removing it as it escapes. It takes a while.
Now, the second order of business, let's get your name straight. I know a family with the same exact spelling in America, and they do pronounce it Dubus, but you said you pronounce it
Dubus,
Dubus?
as the original Dubus, as the
Dubus.
original French. Yep.
Very well. Dubus.
Thank you.
Dubus.
To the judge's
Dubus.
credit, the common pronunciation of his last name is
Dumbass.
Dumbass.
I have
You're
to
welcome.
say.
Now, Mr. Dubus appears in person and pro se.
Correction. Propria persona.
What does that mean?
Well, in this court, it's in person. And
Correction. In all courts, it may be either pro se, either appear in person, or propria persona.
well, in my years of law school and nearly 40 years of practice, both as an attorney and a judge, it's been in person, and that's what I'm going with, sir. I believe that is just fine. So, in any event, we will proceed with your charges. In count one, sir, you're charged with operating a motor vehicle on a highway of this state without having a valid driver's license pursuant to KSA 8-235A. In count two, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August 2023 in Butler County, Kansas, you did then and there unlawfully operate or attempt to operate a motor vehicle, to wit, a 2003 Honda Accord, upon a highway of the state, to wit, 1700 block of East Foxtail Street, Andover, Butler County, Kansas, while the vehicle was not registered in violation of KSA 8-142. In count three, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August 2023 in Butler County, Kansas, Anthony Edward Dubus,
Dubus.
Dubus.
the Boos,
Thank you,
did
Myron.
unlawfully and intentionally drive a motor vehicle upon a public highway or property open to use by the public and failed to provide proof of insurance upon demand by a law enforcement officer. Now, sir, if you had insurance when you were stopped but just didn't have it with you or couldn't find it quickly, just provide proof to the county attorney and they'll most likely dismiss that charge. But if you really didn't have insurance, you're looking at a Class B non-person misdemeanor. The law does require a minimum fine if you're convicted of $300 up to $1,000, and it does have a possible jail sentence up to
What's
6
Chris
months.
Bryant doing
Those are the
nowadays?
charges against you.
You can tell you're dealing with a real sovereign citizen when they get all three of their Soft Scout badges in one traffic stop. No license, no registration, and no insurance.
You do have the right to an attorney. You can hire any attorney of your choice, but if you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for a court appointed.
They always go pro se. So they just talked about that and said he wasn't going pro se, he was going something persona, meaning in person. Pro se means they represent themselves. I don't know what the difference was. And the judge even argued against it, and I'm sure she knows.
Attorney. You don't have to have an attorney, though. You can waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself. So that's an order of business we need to take care of today, is whether you want an attorney or not. And then another is to make sure that you understand what the charges are and the possible penalties. Do you have any questions for me about that?
Yeah, I don't understand the nature and cause of the charges. I have not had my accuser face me to bring the charges against me, as is a violation of due process. And I want to correct, for the record of the court, the named defendant is different than the named person, being myself. Hold on, let me make sure I get that in view of the camera. The named person here is different than the one named in the charges and the counts being a difference of representation of who exactly it is the charges are against. And it is, to my belief and knowledge, that per KAR 8243, subsection A, exemption from the motor carrier safety regulations, A, the occasional transportation of personal property by private motor carriers that is not.
Get to it, I'm about to fall asleep. Look at this girl over here in the top left. I think that's Jan Breed. This girl over here in the top left. Her name is Nika Lopez Sanchez. So she went from Lopez to Sanchez. She married Lopez, married to Sanchez. So her name is just Latina as it gets. Nika Lopez Sanchez.
For compensation and is not in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise. I am exempt from these rules and regulations, and if I need to get a USDOT number to show that I was not operating a commercial motor vehicle or as a common carrier.
That's another thing they believe, that you only get an ID if you're operating a commercial vehicle. If you're driving it for work, like if you're an Uber driver, or if you're like a courtesy car driver, that's all you need to have an ID. And then they call it traveling. If you're driving somewhere and they're not commercial, they just call it traveling. If I wasn't driving, I was traveling. Well, you're traveling without an license, idiot.
For business, or for profit, or in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise. I will be more than happy to produce that USDOT number to show that I am in fact a private motor carrier, not operating in commerce, not driving, as I'm merely transporting and traveling.
I hate to be the one to piss in your Cheerios, but your belief is wrong. Kansas Administration Regulation 82-4-3A is basically an exemption from needing a commercial driver's license to operate a commercial vehicle, which would normally be operating in commerce. But what it does not say is that idiots like yourself can operate a motor vehicle without a driver's license on a Kansas highway.
Just the opposite.
Disney Speedstorm is available now on both mobile and PC with Google Play Games.
Oh, let's click on this down here. I'm an idiot.
Mr. DuBois, you are not charged under the Uniform Commercial Carriers Code as adopted by the state of Kansas. You are charged just as a motorist operating a motor vehicle. Again, not a commercial vehicle. These are not laws that are subject to the commercial code or to the administrative regulation that you refer.
Although you mentioned the word operating, operating is a term used for the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, or driving, operating, the physical use or furtherance of for-profit business or for compensation.
It may under the commercial code, but not under the code otherwise.
It is under Kansas, correct?
It is not under Chapter 8 of the Kansas statutes or Chapter 40, which are filed under. But we can address that at a later date of the trial or a motions hearing if necessary, but I do not see the statutory.
Oh, sorry for all the sniffling. I've got the load of the old sinuses going. The old sinuses going. That's a good party trick, and the old sinuses. Drain from my sinuses into the back of my throat, into my lobe, into my eardrums. No, I don't know. You can drain everywhere you go. Alright, there you go.
Language that you're addressing being applicable to these statutes, at least preliminarily at this hearing.
It is within. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
that's my ruling there. And then on the name issue, I am not tracking you there. The only difference I see is that at the top of the document, state of Kansas and your name are capitalized, and in the initial or in the individual charges, it's traditional capital letter of the first name, all lowercase of the remaining names throughout. So I'm not following that argument. Again, if you want to readdress that at a later date, we can, but I'm just not seeing that argument.
Okay.
Now
Well,
then,
I motion and move this court to dismiss this case for the motion I have filed and for the brief in support of motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction.
Jurisdiction, there it
I
is.
do not have any such motion or brief in support. Mr.
Jurisdiction.
Revere, have you received
I do not
such
consent
copy?
to this or that, and jurisdiction, blah blah blah, the same shit every time.
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor.
Uh-oh. Looks like somebody doesn't know how to properly file court documents for themselves. You sure you don't want that lawyer?
And so I fail to see, at least at this juncture, how such a motion is properly brought before the court. Unless the court is aware of something that I am not aware of.
Well, that's what I'm trying to decide, if it's properly before the court. Mr. Dubois, who did you file the motion and brief with?
Well, seeing as your guys' e-file is down for what is it? It's called a ransom malware or something. I cannot e-file.
Right,
so
but you can mail it, or you can walk it into the clerk of the court. Have you done that?
Yes, I've mailed it. By email, which a court
I'm sorry,
could, I could.
Go ahead, please. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. It was by email, which the court clerk said I could, considering the e-file was down. And I can't really go 20-something miles to do that, considering my personal property was stolen.
You serious?
And
When did you email it, sir? When did you email it?
a while ago.
Judge,
Yeah.
Yes.
we do not accept emailed filings, only faxed or by mail or person.
Okay,
I'm
I was
sorry.
told that they do not
Where'd
have
she come
fax, so I
from?
could not do that. So email
Who's
would
that?
be okay.
Lopez Sanchez?
He may have called the wrong courthouse then.
They spent 10 minutes finding my case because your guys' system was down. So I'm fairly certain it was the correct one.
Okay. Do you recall which you filed or which court you called?
Let me go to my sent. T. Stafford at bucokansas.com.
I think that might be at the county courthouse, not the district courthouse.
Okay. So
Is it? Okay.
if you want to file something, sir, let's make sure you file it in a fashion that will get it officially recognized. So, Ashley, how do you suggest you file motions and the like?
He will either need to mail us a copy of it or he can fax file.
I don't see any Ashleys. Do you? No, there's no Ashley. I thought it was Nika Lopez Sanchez that was talking. It sounded obviously a female voice. Ashley is her name. I don't see an Ashley. Maybe I'm not saying something. I see Nika Lopez Sanchez. And then Driger, or whoever he is. Drigier. Amen. Is that the same guy? Anthony Edwards Dubus, he's the defendant. And there's Judge Webster, Joel's iPhone. And then there's Dalton Davis. I don't see any Ashley anybody.
And is your guys' fax active?
Yes, it has been the whole time.
Okay,
It's
and
not effective.
what's the fax number?
Our fax number is 316 321
Yeah.
9486.
Okay.
Okay, and my honor,
All
I
right.
have one last question. For the nature and cause of these charges, is it a criminal or is it a civil matter?
This is a criminal matter.
Okay, as is a criminal matter, there are two jurisdictions which I may be tried. One is the common law, and the other is a military tribunal. Which of those two do you intend to try me in?
I intend to try you in this one, sir.
Which is this one? Please elaborate.
Criminal, the criminal one.
Well, criminal has two jurisdictions. It is either the common law or it is the military tribunal.
Well, sir, we're not going to go into that at this point.
Are you refusing to acknowledge to me and tell me the nature and cause of the charges?
I have told you the nature and the cause of the charges.
You are not elaborating.
I think the remaining issue, sir, is whether you're going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself.
My honor, I need to know whether or not this is going to be in the common law or a military tribunal.
Or C, none of the above, because this is a criminal matter, and as set forth by Kansas statute, this will be taking place in a criminal court.
Switch to our most affordable unlimited phone plan and get 2 lines for just $80 per month with Simply Unlimited from Google Fi Wireless. Stay connected with all the essentials, like unlimited data, calls, and texts, plus 5 gigabytes of high-speed hotspot tethering per month for each line, and full connectivity for select smartwatches.
Well, I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself, sir?
Again, I'm not representing myself. I am sui juris in proper persona, or propria persona.
That's something else they all do. I don't get it. They don't say representing, they say representing. I am not representing myself. I am whatever else you said.
So you're not going to have an attorney, or are you?
No, I'm not going to be presented or represented by any British agent, registrant, or anybody else to be a ward of the state. I'm standing on my rights, and I do not abrogate them. And if you're going to continue to move this court without any sort of evidence, well, I guess I'll have to file that. But
We're going to set your hearing. How do you want to plead to the charges first? Then, if you don't want to have an attorney, how do you want to plead to no valid driver's license?
My honor, are you attempting to administer the trust without permission and consent?
I'm
There's
asking
the
you for your
consent.
response. I'm giving you the chance to respond. Do you want to plead to this charge or not?
My
He will accuse her of practicing law over the bench at some point, too. You're practicing law over the bench. I don't know what that means, but I don't think he does either, but that's what he'll say. I haven't seen this before. I've seen so many other sovereign citizen videos that I know they say the same shit. You're practicing law over the bench.
honor, I don't make any pleas as I am appearing in propria persona, and any plea would submit jurisdiction to the court. I am here challenging jurisdiction under the common law as I am owed the law of peace, and this is a fraud action as fraud in the inducement from the beginning under due process violations from Deputy Khalid Barake and the other officers or sheriffs that were on scene. And if you are attempting to administer the trust without consent of myself, the living man, the grantor, in common law, which is above Admiralty maritime law, then you will be in violation of
What's he saying?
Article 3, Section 2, the trial of all crimes, except in case of impeachment, shall be jury, and such trial shall be held in a state where said crime shall have been committed, but when they are not committed with any state, the trial shall be at such place or places as the Congress may by law have directed. And as there is a difference between the Republic State Kansas before the state of Kansas was
You're
brought into the
reading it.
Federation of the Union of States. And you will also
You're reading it. Why pause? Just keep reading.
be in violation of I'm getting it real quick. 18 U.S. Code sections 2381 treason. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States, the corporation, not United States of America or for America, levies war against them or adheres to the enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death or shall be imprisoned not less than 5 years and fined under this title, but not less than $10,000, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States.
Yes, we get it. You can read the definition of treason out of a book. But exactly how does that apply to Judge Webster and not yourself? Because from my perspective, one seems to be doing her duty to uphold the Constitution, and the other one hates America.
Now, I, Anthony Edward Dubus, the proper case trade name, not the all caps legal entity of which you're attempting to administer the trust of, am an American state national, a Kansas state national per 8 U.S.C. 1101, subsection 21, and is recognized by the Kansas Human Rights Commission as I have dealings with them going over my nationality in regards to a corporation in which I have a complaint filed against, has already been refused mediation by the company and is being investigated by Barbara Carper, the special investigator of Kansas Human Rights Commission, over my case specifically. And if you're attempting to move this case against myself, you are in violation
She's asking you how you plead.
executing law.
She's asking you how you plead, and you read the definition of treason and everything else. Just make a fucking plea. Are you innocent or guilty?
Law rather than just judging on it. Which, if I need to pull up that statute
Sir,
case as well.
Sir, do you still have the same phone number you had posted on your bond that you have with AAA Butler County Bail Bonds? Is that still your current phone number?
My Honor, Mrs.
316-252?
My Honor, Webster, it is, you may call me either Anthony Dubus or Anthony Edward Dubus. I do not accept the term sir. Although,
well.
yes, my phone number is still the same at 316-252-9724.
All right. And is your address, okay. This is iPhone locked. And Mr. Dubois, is your address still homeless, or do you have something more specific at this time?
See, they refuse to put down my address. I am within Wichita, Kansas, rural free delivery, within the 4-corner rule 67202, aka the brackets around 67202, and they refused to put down my rural free delivery address and put me as homeless instead, because they could not accept it.
You gave them an address that only exists in Narnia, and you wonder why they marked you as homeless. Well, technically you are homeless, since they stole your car.
they refused. Also, Deputy Khalid Barakay, when I was taken to Butler County Detention Center, refused that there were any magistrates at all within any of the courts, which, per due process of common law, I was to be taken before a magistrate or a tribunal, both judicial, either Article 3 or 4, in front of a magistrate judge to be decided whether or not I was even within the jurisdiction to be tried for these charges or commercial crimes.
Your next court day will be 2 weeks from Monday. What do you have, Ashley? 2 weeks from this past Monday. What is it?
I believe that is going to be Monday the 18th.
All right. Mr. Dubois, your next court date is December 18th at 8 a.m. by Zoom. You can always appear in the courthouse personally if you like. I am appointing Attorney Darren Patterson. Now, you're not, if you don't want to use him.
I do not accept any appointment of any attorney.
Not
But
consent.
I show that you don't have a specific residence. Do you have a job? Employment?
I did, and then these actions against myself from the state of Kansas caused me not to have it anymore.
Yes, blame the entire state of Kansas instead of taking responsibility for your own actions and decisions. And you don't think that maybe it's your antisocial behavior or your choice to consume paint chips over normal food that prevents you from being a pro-social, contributing member of society?
Which I am in process of finding another one, putting in applications every day and making sure I do my due diligence to make sure that I can gain my compensation and my livable wage.
Well, your attorney is Darren Patterson.
My honor.
His number is 316-322-7700. Ashley, please send him Mr. Patterson the appointment and the court date. I want you two to talk. If he can be of any service to you, I would encourage you to let him do so. If you have any questions or if you want him to help you with any motions, he can advise you on that. But I think at this point there is a lot of confusion on your part about
there's no confusion.
And how it works. Did
I've
you go to
researched
law school,
more than...
Mr. Dubois? Did you go to law school? Are you a licensed attorney?
It is Anthony Dubois or Anthony Edward Dubois. No, I am not a licensed practice attorney, although that does not stop the common law right of anybody practicing law for themselves, or not practicing, as that is the commercial term, enacting law and being in court for themselves, on behalf of themselves, and to have any form of counsel they deem necessary.
Well, you were doing so good there, right up until the point that you vomited out that last line. Because yes, you do have the right to represent yourself in a criminal matter. However, you do not have the right to just pick anyone you want to represent you in court. For someone to legally be your counsel, they need to be licensed by the state of Kansas, or they'll be in violation of Kansas statute 50-1642, unauthorized practice of law.
All right, we do have finally a point we agree on, that you don't have to have counsel. But I want Mr. Patterson available to you because you have, in this court's opinion, mixed federal law and state law and other sources of law that don't all go together.
May I elaborate?
I just want him to be available to you. I think we have exhausted this particular hearing, the purpose of which is merely to make sure you know what the charges are, the possible penalties, and your rights that I have gone over with you, including your right to counsel, which I'm hearing you say you don't wish to utilize. But nevertheless, I'm going to direct Mr. Patterson to at least be available to you, that you be here again December 18th at 8 a.m. by Zoom, and I'm going to continue your bond until that date and time. So, anything else, Mr. Anthony Edward Dubois? Please
Thank
take
you,
that
My
up.
Honor.
Thank you. Please take that up at the next hearing after you've had a time to talk to Mr. Patterson.
Okay, my last final thing I want to say is I'm already filing Kansas Commission on Judicial Conduct complaint against a judge, and that would be the prior judge, Mr. Mr. Lee, I believe, and I will be adding you to the complaint as well, as you are violating my due process right and my Sixth Amendment right.
There is no situation that exists where threatening a judge with a lawsuit if she doesn't dismiss your case is a good thing. And I love how the judge is just sitting there, shaking her head in agreement like, bring it on, little man.
Well, you're welcome to do that, sir, if you want, but at this time, this hearing is adjourned.
Okay, and I also want to mention that Mr. Regier has not moved this case against myself, and that the witness, first-hand witness, that needs to be present to move this case against myself is not present, and is a violation of my Sixth Amendment. I yield.
Your arguments are noted, and we are in recess. You are excused at this time, Mr. Anthony Edward Dubois.
Dubois, thank you, my honor.
I will get it, Dubois.
You're fine. And in the reference to the family, of which you are probably familiar with,
Yes.
I am the only person actually being within common law. They subject themselves as citizens, of which I'm not, and that is probably where the familiarity of the last name comes from. And I appreciate your time. Thank you. And I hope you have a blessed day.
Thank you, you too.
Alright guys, that's the end of the video. As painful as this was to get through, that was just his arraignment, meaning we'll be seeing a lot more of this idiot